service to the nation. It's all I've ever done in my life, from 20 years old until, I left the Marine Corps. And the story I love to tell, I did not know Donald Trump at all. I kind of followed the election. I was still in the Marine Corps for a lot of it. I didn't know anyone who had ever met Donald Trump, and it was in November after the election, right around Thanksgiving. Received a phone call. I was watching college football with my wife Karen, and in the house that she always wanted, and I promised to acquire for her when we get out of the Marine Corps. Anyways, the guy on the other end of the phone was a guy named Reince Priebus. He was the first chief of staff of the White House for President Trump. I had never heard that name before in my life. I didn't think it was a real name. Once he convinced me that he was who he was, and then Mr. Pence, Vice President-elect, got on, and the message was the President-elect would love to talk to you about maybe entering the administration. The first thought that came to mind was, as a retired military, if you're on active duty, you do not get involved in politics. You can be court-martialed for it. There's a tradition that once you leave the armed forces, particularly as a retired senior man or woman, you still don't do it. You're constantly asked to sign letters for and against some policy, but generally speaking, no one does it. Occasionally it happens, and it's not that they're breaking the law or they're bad people. Most of us don't believe in doing it. Anyways, first thought that came to mind, and I thought to myself, well, it's not politics anymore. We have a president-elect. Now it's governance, which is really hard and really different. I've been able to observe it as a Marine, my time on the Hill, my time in the Pentagon, very close to the White House operations when I was on active duty. Anyways, I said to my wife, when she said, what was that all about? I said, well, and I told her, and I said, what do you think? And she said, well, if the Kelly family's nothing else, we're a family of service. So if they think they need you, you ought to go at least talk to them. And she said, besides this quality time and retirement that we're spending together isn't really what it's cracked up to be.